Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. This time we're looking into the world of hiring Three.js developers. It's a hot topic, and we're here to break it all down. But first, if you want a simpler way to hire smarter, not harder, all you need to find the perfect developer are these 5 questions about your project. Try the 5 questions now at theperfectdeveloper.com. Now, we're lucky enough to have with us today an expert from theperfectdeveloper.com who really gets this niche. So, what even is3.js? Why are all these developers suddenly so in demand?
Well, it's all about making websites come to life. Imagine like interactive product demos, pretty tours, even 3D games, all running smoothly in a web browser. That's Three.js. It's a JavaScript library that lets developers build amazing 3D experiences without any clunky downloads.
Wow, so it's like way more dynamic than just having pictures on a screen. It's the difference between seeing a photo of a car and actually being able to spin it around and zoom in on the details.
Exactly. And that's why businesses are really scrambling to find developers who can build this stuff. 3D is not a gimmick anymore. It's becoming essential for engaging customers and standing out online.
I can see why finding the right Three.js developer is critical. I mean, you don't want your fancy 3D website crashing and burning. What skills should we be looking for? Is it as simple as, oh, they know JavaScript, we're good?
Not quite. Knowing JavaScript is like the bare minimum, the entry fee.
Yeah.
To really excel, they need a whole toolkit. We're talking WebGL to make the 3D work in the browser, 3D modeling tools like Blender or Maya to create the objects themselves, and sometimes even physics and math come into play, especially if you're doing realistic simulations.
So not your average, make a button do a thing type of coder.
Definitely not. It's this blend of artistic vision and technical skill, which is why finding the right person can be so tricky. That's where the perfectdeveloper.com really comes in. They've got a real neck for matching businesses with developers who have that perfect mix.
Okay, let's say I'm sold on Three.js. Where do I even begin to find these developers?
You got to start with a clear vision for your project. What do you want to build? What's your budget? Once you have that, you can explore different hiring models. Do you need someone full-time, part-time, or maybe a freelancer for a specific project?
So many choices. It can be kind of overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely. That's where having a guide can make all the difference. Theperfectdeveloper.com analyzes your needs and points you towards the right hiring solution, whether that's a platform, a consultancy, or even connecting you with a specific agency.
That sounds like it takes a lot of the guesswork out of the equation. All right, so I've got my project scope, I've got my budget nailed down, I even figured out my hiring model. Now the big question, how do I assess technical skills when I can barely tell JavaScript from Java the coffee?
Don't worry. You don't need to be a coding whiz to spot talent. You want to look for proficiency in the essentials, JavaScript 3.js WebGL. But just as important, go beyond the resume. Check out their portfolio. Do their projects run smoothly? Are they creative? This gives you a real sense of their abilities.
So it's like, don't just look at the ingredients, taste the final dish.
Exactly. And during interviews, you want to ask problem-solving questions. Like, how would they optimize a 3D scene for a slow internet connection? That reveals their thinking process, not just rote memorization of code.
Makes sense. You want someone who can think on their feet and solve real-world challenges, not just someone copying and pasting from Stack Overflow.
Right. And a big thing to remember is that theperfectdeveloper.com pre-vets developers. So that saves you a lot of time and stress. You can focus on finding the best fit for your project, knowing that the technical foundation is solid.
Okay, so we've covered the technical side, but something tells me there's more to the story. Can you really judge a Three.js developer just by their code?
That's where things get interesting. You could have a coding genius who's also a total nightmare to work with. Soft skills can really make or break a project, even in tech.
Well, hold on. You're saying someone's personality is as important as their coding skills. Never thought of it that way.
It's true. Imagine a developer who can build anything, but they can't explain their ideas to the team, or they can't handle feedback. Communication is key. Can they break down complex technical concepts and really listen to your needs?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want to get lost in translation, especially when you're building something as intricate as a 3D website.
Exactly. And then you've got collaboration. 3D projects involve designers, project managers, the whole team. Can your developer work well with others? Are they open to feedback? Can they compromise?
It's like a 3D puzzle. All the pieces need to fit together.
And don't forget adaptability. Technology is always evolving, so your developer needs to be comfortable learning new things, not get stuck in their ways. Can they handle curveballs? Can they adapt to changes in the project?
So you're saying it's not enough to be a one-trick pony, even if that trick is super impressive.
Right. And finally, there's cultural fit. which is often overlooked. Will this developer actually thrive in your company's environment? Do their values align with yours? You want someone who's not just skilled, but also a positive force on the team.
Okay, so finding a technical rock star who's also a team player and a good communicator sounds like a tall order.
It can be, but trust me, it's worth it. These soft skills directly impact the success of your project and your team's sanity. Honestly, a service like theperfectdeveloper.com takes a lot of the stress out of this. They don't just look at technical skills, they consider the whole package.
So they're not just matching skills, they're matching personalities too. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. They take the time to understand your company culture and what kind of person would really thrive there.
Okay, so we've demystified Three.js. We've talked about the skills, the personalities, the whole retention puzzle. But now the big question, how do we actually find these developers? The hiring process can feel like a maze, especially if you're not a tech recruiter.
Oh, it can be daunting for sure. You've got job boards overflowing with resumes, freelance platforms with thousands of profiles, and then you've got recruitment agencies. Where do you even start?
Right, it's like searching for a needle in a haystack of code.
But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. The key is to break it down into manageable steps. First, you've got to get crystal clear on what you need. What specific skills are non-negotiable for your project? What level of experience are you looking for? Do you need someone local, or are you open to remote talent?
So it's kind of like creating a developer wish list before you go shopping.
Exactly. Once you have that clarity, you can start exploring different avenues. Freelance platforms like Upwork or TopTal are great for short-term projects, or if you're on a tight budget.
But how do you actually sift through all those profiles? How do you find someone who's actually good?
That's where your detective skills come in.
Uh-huh.
You got to look beyond the flashy titles and buzzwords. Really scrutinize portfolios, check references, ask targeted questions during interviews. It takes effort, but it's worth it to avoid a hiring disaster.
So freelance platforms offer flexibility, but you really need to be careful. What about recruitment agencies? They sound helpful, but probably expensive.
They can be, but you're paying for their expertise in their network. A good agency does the heavy lifting for you. Sourcing candidates, screening them, presenting you with a short list of developers who not only have the skills, but also fit your company culture.
For it's like having a personal headhunter for developers.
Exactly. They're your secret weapon in the talent war, especially when you're looking for specialized skills like Three.js.
This all makes me realize how valuable a service like theperfectdeveloper.com really is. They seem to simplify this whole process, and they're really focused on finding the right FIT, not just filling a seat.
Absolutely. They take the time to understand your needs, your company culture, even your long-term goals, so they can match you with developers who are in it for the long haul. It's like having a partner who speaks both tech and business fluently.
This has been such an eye-opening journey. We've gone from feeling overwhelmed to having a clear roadmap for finding our perfect Three.js developer.
Remember, finding the right talent is an investment, not just an expense. Take your time, do your due diligence, and don't settle for anything less than the best.
Great advice. And if you're still feeling lost, or you just want to simplify the whole process, head over to theperfectdeveloper.com. Try their 5 questions tool. It's a great starting point. Looking for a way to take the guesswork out of finding the best developers for your project, theperfectdeveloper.com can help. Try the 5 questions now and discover the perfect hiring solution for your needs. So what one question would you ask a potential Three.js developer to really get a sense of their passion and problem-solving skills? Let us know. Thanks for joining us on this mini deep dive. We'll see you next time.